Eye on Gauteng, brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Economic Development.
So we've been telling you that you can live and work as well as play in the Maboneng Precinct. We're here to meet Hayley Evans, the brand manager for the Maboneng Precinct. She works in the area. We're going to find out from her how she markets the area and basically how it is to live here and how her life has been changed by living in downtown Johannesburg. Let's go and meet her. Hayley, so you're in charge of marketing the Maboneng Precinct, making people come back to the inner city after they all flew to the suburbs. Is that a hard sell?
I think initially it was a much harder sell. I mean, in 2009 we were sitting with one property with a certain amount of offerings. Now, as the precinct's grown, the offerings have grown. It means it can appeal to more people. Something like the market, which we do every Sunday, appeals to a wide range of people, and we get at least 2,000 feature every week. So as it's grown, it's become a lot easier to market. Plus, it's a word of mouth thing. In Joburg, people talk. So the more people live here, the more people are visiting, the more people are actually physically coming down to see it. I think that's the hard part, is once you get people here, they can't believe it and they're hooked.
Tell us about how you actually went from the beginning to 20 blocks. How many years was it? And what was the process involved in growing so quickly?
I mean, it's been 4 years. So it's been from early 2009 to now. And it's been a very organic process. It went from one and then it went into a residential offering. So Main Street Life was about giving a residential offering, then lifestyle offerings. And I think, the response has allowed us to grow so much. And what 2.0 is really about is about the next phase of development. It's about in keeping with that organic approach, but also considering how we're using the spaces in between the buildings and creating more accessible public space for people to really enjoy and to take this part of Johannesburg to an international city level. Okay,
now talk to me about the business case that the Maboneng Precinct makes for the business owner or even the residential person looking for a place to live. Does it make sense economically to move back to the inner city, and how do you communicate this message?
I think the way we communicate it is really through personal stories. So I'm just going to give you my personal story. I started coming here in 2010, early 2010, when Main Street Life was just being built. A friend of mine had a business here, and I was frequenting the place and I was really in love with it, and then I started working here. And I feel like from my side, I just identified this massive opportunity to make a change, because there's so much collaboration that goes on here and there's so much entrepreneurial spirit that I even ended up starting my own business here.
Just talk to us about what we have here, the arts on offer, the lifestyle retail offerings that you have within the precinct. What is there to do for somebody that just wants to spend the day here as a tourist kind of attraction?
Yeah, we're so lucky to have this wealth of things going on. Everything from all the art galleries at Arts on Main. There's a new show pretty much every week at one or other of the galleries. There's also artist studios. There's public art walks. There's been a huge thing with the new Adidas space that we have on the ground floor of the main change, Area 3. They've just done huge murals all around the precinct. They've been doing art walks with that. There's a company called Main Street Walks who do walks through Maboneng as well as the entire city. And then in addition to all the coffee shops and restaurants and retail stores, you also have things like Collector's Treasury, which is a short walk up the road. It's the second biggest antique bookstore in the southern hemisphere. So you can pretty much get any content and great vinyls there. There's the Jeppe shopping district just up the road. So if you're looking to shop, if you're just looking to browse, if you're looking to eat, and if you're looking to be entertained, there's cinema, there's theatre, there's parties pretty much every weekend. So it's a really great space to just come down and see what's happening.
Fantastic. Hayley, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Well, what we're going to do now is find out how the secret of Maboneng works. It's all about using existing urban infrastructure. We'll be speaking with an urban planner who will tell us exactly how they made the Maboneng Precinct work. Maboneng is the evolving result of a vision towards a shared urban future through the metamorphosis of the city's existing space economy. Yikes! Now that's very difficult and big words. Teresh Govender, urban designer for the Maboneng Precinct.
Lionel, good to meet you.
Are you going to explain to me what all those words mean?
I'll try my best, Lionel. It's an exciting proposition, that.
All right, so what have we got here?
What I've got here is a model that tries to represent some of the complex issues and interventions that we're trying to achieve in the Maboneng Precinct. So we put a model together so that it becomes accessible to the larger public, and we can try to explain what exactly we're trying to do and how some of the big words that we talk out there actually realize themselves.
All right, now let's just start from the beginning. What is an urban designer?
An urban designer, basically different to an architect who would look at specifically the design and making of buildings. We'd be looking at the spaces between buildings in cities. Johannesburg is going through rapid transformation, and it seems to be the neglected space in our space economy that was referred to earlier. So we would be looking at the streets, basically, the streets, the pavements, the squares, and how all of those things tie together to make those buildings more habitable and our cities more comfortable to live in.
Okay, so you guys are not interested in the actual building as such. In terms of your line of work, you're interested in the space between the buildings.
Absolutely. In essence, that's what an urban designer does. So by understanding how the spaces work, we can then suggest to the architects how those buildings need to perform.
All right, now in terms of the Maboneng Precinct, I mean, we have a great space that's been used at the moment, and it's a work in progress. Just talk to me about the work in progress and where will we be in the next 5, 10, 15 or even 20 years from now?
Well, the project started with around a few buildings. It's a few specific buildings. It became so successful that the consequence or the impact of it went beyond itself. So it started to infiltrate into the streets, and there were tons of people all over the place, and that thing needed to be considered. So what we've been asked to get involved in is how the streets are going to be working, where Maboneng is going to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, and 15 years' time. So we'd be looking at how particularly Fox Street, which is one of the key anchors that the Maboneng Precinct is hinged upon, how that performs and how we're going to go further and expand further into the rest of the neighborhood.
Right, so this was your 5-year plan, 5 to 6 year plan. Tell me about your bigger plans for the rest of the city.
Glad you asked, Lionel. What we've got here is, like we were talking about, this is the small thing that gives someone an immediate understanding of what we're doing. There's a bigger picture because cities are constantly in a state of change and they're dynamic, and we need to sort of preempt and imagine where it's going, which gives some sort of guidance. We have a drawing out here. This is a drawing that illustrates what the current existing neighborhood is, which is the model that we showed you. We also have plans to extend further northwards into the precinct, and we're also trying to understand how this neighborhood relates to other parts of the city. Key components to this is the Ellis Park Stadium. So we see the rest of the city's amenities as important assets for the neighborhood. We see them as coexisting in a significant way.
So actually, you show me the model, you show me the design. I'm interested to see the actual thing happening, the existing space that is there and what you guys are going to do.
Gladly, Lionel. Let's do that.
Okay, see you. All right, Suresh, this place doesn't look that good, right? It's a stormwater drain. There's a gaping hole between two buildings that don't look that great. Now, in terms of urban design, what can you do for us here? Or what can you do for Maboneng here?
Lionel, clearly this is an ideal opportunity for us. This is the kind of thing that we thrive upon because Johannesburg is littered with these sort of found dramas which have no value really. And what we'd like to do is try to add some value to it by bringing some innovation and fresh thinking as to how this could be repurposed. So undervalued spaces like these, we look at where the opportunities are. For example, the buildings that you see adjacent us here, we would like these buildings better to relate to this. We'd like to make this space a fantastic amenity for the neighborhood and the community. We imagine this to be a canal that you meander, a walkway rather, that you meander through above the canal. So we'd imagine that we deck this canal, we'd have it well lit with street lights above the buildings with signage and some lighting and street furniture as well as landscaping that will help this. We also imagine that the ground floor of both these buildings would be shops or retail spaces that work out onto these things that makes this a living little urban moment within this community.
Great. Well, all of that makes a lot of sense. And of course, it's all about urban planning and using the spaces that are there in the existing environment. Producer Cindy Mieza and Ayana Sowazi are going to find out how they will have fun in the Maboneng Precinct. It's all about shopping, spa days, and maybe they might just get a meal. Let's take a look.
Okay. Hi everyone, we are at Maboneng Precinct in Johannesburg. We are going to shop at the retail stores.
Till we drop.
We're going to go and eat. It's an Ethiopian restaurant. We're
Do
going
some
to
pop art.
Do some pop art.
Do some painting.
We're going to see how much we can get up to basically in a
an
day.
hour's time. Can you try not a day, in an hour's time?
Hello. Hi. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. Tell us about Cocoon, please.
So Cocoon is a yoga and wellness center and offers all the services that will help the busy, stressed urbanite to just decompress, to relax and to heal. We offer yoga classes almost every day. Okay, we have someone doing acupuncture. We have someone doing coaching. So it's a whole health and well-being service. And then we also offer treatments, the massages, facials. We've been going for about 4 months now. It's been interesting to kind of be part of shifting people's awareness of health and well-being. And initially that's always a challenge, but people are realizing the value and the benefit of coming to yoga, of having a massage, of seeing the health in a new way.
So I think it's been a pretty good day, if I must say.
It has been pretty eventful. We had a lot more things done than we thought we could do. There was a lot more to do. And but now I'm stuffed. I want to sleep, and I can't.
Okay,
do
so
it.
thumbs up to the precinct.
It is an amazing place.
So, having heard from the experts, the marketing gurus, and the shopaholics, we were interested to know how a typical resident of Maboneng lives.
Hi, my name is Taryn. Since I've been living in the city, my business has had a real chance to be developed and be cradled by the Maboneng Precinct. Staying here is really convenient for me and the way that my business is structured. We have a workshop down the road, as well as doing landscaping on the streets. We have a showroom and eco-cafe on the 5th floor called the living room. And staying here is so convenient. It gives me the opportunity to micromanage both these businesses on the streets, the workshop and the showroom, whilst being less than a 5-minute walk away from all of them. There's a beautiful creative community living here. It's very inspiring. There's so much exciting stuff happening on the streets all the time, as well as a real community of friends that are like-minded. What's amazing here is that I have the freedom to work whichever times I prefer. So if I find myself working late, I feel safe to walk home. Everything that I need is within a walking distance, especially trying to promote eco values as a landscaper and plant enthusiast. I barely have to use my car for anything, and everything I need is just around the corner.
Okay, so we've seen how Taryn Jacobson lives. This is her place of work. It's across the road from where she lives. It's called the living room, and it's also an exhibition space and an eco cafe. I'm going to order something on the menu. Taryn, can I please have an aloe juice? Thank you very much. Well, this looks very refreshing, and time for us to take a break. More on Eye on Gauteng when we come back.